Hey guys, Josh here, and you're watching Chimp Skills. And today we're going to talk about daily routines. So first off, let's acknowledge I'm not where I normally am. I'm away with work this week, so that's why I've got an island paradise behind me, which I think is kind of cool. So today I want to talk about the first 30 to 60 minutes of your day and what that looks like. Mine personally isn't that great. I tend to spend a lot of time in the morning on Facebook, and it burns heaps of my time. So there's a bit of a selfish reason for setting this video up, because I want to use some of this stuff and integrate it into my own morning routine. So the information that I'm going to use is predominantly from Tim Ferriss's podcast and the guests that he has on. So if you haven't listened to Tim's podcast before, I highly recommend it. He seems to get the top of the food chain in each specific field. He's just one of those people that attracts, I guess, greatness from all different walks in life. You know, he's had top actors like Jamie Foxx and Edward Norton on. He's had people like Tony Robbins on. He's had musicians like Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park. He's had Silicon Valley techs. He's had experts in finance. A lot of people from different areas of life who are sort of the top of their fields. And what's great is one of the key questions he asked them in most of the podcast is, what does your morning routine look like? So I've tried to streamline that information and look at the sort of most common traits that each of these individuals perform in the first 30 to 60 minutes of the day, and how you can sort of bring it into your morning routine if you like. I'll kick things off with an anecdote that he constantly refers to, and that's from a US Navy Admiral by the name of William McCabe. So he was a US Navy SEAL for 36 years. He was the head of US Special Ops, highly successful in his field. And one of his main pieces of advice that he gives to people is to make your bed when you wake up. Now I know it sounds like a really meaningless and small task, but what he talks around is the psychology that sets you up for the day. So say for instance, when you wake up, you make your bed, your brain instantly gets that feeling of achievement where it'll have a sense of pride. Hey, I've actually been able to do this. And what he talks about is that then sets, I guess, a positive sort of, intent for the day, which allows you to go on then to achieve other things throughout the day. What he also talks about is that it teaches you an appreciation for the small things in life and being able to perfect them. Because if we can't perfect the small things, then how are we going to go on and perfect the bigger things? And last but not least, he also talks about if you're having a rough day, you come home, you can see that you've achieved one thing, even though it might be quite trivial. At least it's something you've achieved. And you think, hey, that bed's been made, I made that bed, and therefore, it gives you some encouragement that tomorrow's going to be a better day. So if you're feeling a bit down or depressed, that's one of the things that Tim constantly talks about in the podcast is that, making your bed, even though it may seem quite trivial, is really good in just regards to setting your intention for the day and just getting you rolling in sort of a positive direction. So now getting on to some of, the key sort of things that people tend to have in their morning routine. One of the main things that I've noticed is that, when these particular people wake up, they take action, they're not reactive. So they tend to withdraw from things like email, phones, social media. Yes, I am guilty. And they tend to also wake up a little bit earlier, so you don't necessarily have to do this, but generally at a time when they're not going to be interrupted by others. So this allows them, to take away all the distractions, and for them to focus, a little bit more internally on themselves. So during that time, some of the most common behaviors are meditation, which is an interesting one. That's from right across from the movies, actor sort of thing, all the way across to a finance person. They all seem to meditate at some level or set an intention for the day. So whether that's actually writing down a couple of things they want to actually go out and achieve, it might be an important thing to do list. So it might be just one specific thing, like if anything, I just want to get this one specific thing done for the day. Generally no more than 3 things. That tends to get a little bit too cluttered at that stage. So that's one of the main things, like either meditation or just focusing on intention of things they want to get done in that day. Another thing that seems to be quite unified is that they have either the same kind of breakfast or they have a set structure of what they're going to eat. So like I mentioned in one of the earlier videos around decision fatigue, they already know what they're going to eat, so that's not a decision that they have to make in the morning. It's just something they can go through and they don't have to think about it at all. One of the other things as well is that exercise. So there is some form of exercise. So whether they go to the gym first thing, after they sort of do their routine, or they have it planned out that they're going to do some exercise throughout the day. So they've set that aside. So yeah, it could be going to the gym, it could be doing some yoga. That seems to be a common trait as well. And last but not least, they generally find that they work within times that they are more productive. So when they're setting out their day and they're planning what they're going to do, they're not abiding by the typical 9 to 5. And I realize that if you work in a job that requires you to work within certain time frames, then you can be quite restricted. But for these people generally working on their own, or for themselves, they are able to dictate what times they're able to pick when they work. So they're picking times where they feel most productive, or they're able to get into a flow state. And I want to touch on that in a video that I'm going to do in a few weeks from now. But they're dictating when they feel at their best, that's when they're going to work. And then when they want to do leisure activities, or go work out at the gym, then they can put aside time for that. So look, I know that's not too much, but hopefully it gives you some kind of structure in setting up your own morning routine, or it can aid in your morning routine that you already have and just help you to get a little bit more things done. And just feel a bit happier. So yeah guys, give the video a like, a share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Until next time, peace.